Happy Tuesday. Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Hope you guys are having a great day. Better day than Michigan's having. We're going to get into a huge decision that they decided to make. Who is making some big time buzz in camp? Chip Kelly is turning up on the assistants, getting guys ready to roll. We're going to break all that down, take your super chats. As always, we appreciate you guys for being a part of the show. Again, we have been on point with the Michigan stuff. We're on point again today. We're going to break some of that down. The expansion episode was fantastic yesterday. Thank you for some of the great super chats that we had. And we're going to go through what is going on in camp. We're almost home, folks. We got a big scrimmage on Saturday. They'll break camp shortly after. And then it is on to Akron. We've got like one Saturday left without football. And then it's week 0 and it's officially the best time of the year, which is football season. So if you guys enjoy this content, please give us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Get the super chats fired up. Again, thank you for paying it forward to our veterans and the people that take care of this country. We appreciate all of you. All of you patriots out there that are working each and every day to take care of us and help us out. Again, we do not forget about you on BuckeyeScoop.com. That's one of our tenants, one of our hallmarks, and we're very, very thankful for all that you guys do. Again, shout out where you guys are watching from. Shout out who you guys are watching with. This will be a huge show because you guys make it one. So let's get right into it. Nevada, an adult at Michigan, finally spoke up. Jim Harbaugh, who was named the honorary captain for week 1, which I thought was maybe the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. It's got to be way up there in terms of thumbing your nose at the NCAA, basically flicking off the NCAA and having the guy that they just suspended for a year be your honorary captain. That is no longer happening, and now they're going to have the Harbaugh parents, I guess, take his spot. But Jim Harbaugh, who was celebrated as a returning hero yesterday, is no longer coming back as a captain. What are your thoughts on that? Because when it was announced, I knew that it was, I know Michigan people and fans are very, very stupid. But all of a sudden that happens and I'm just like, oh my God, these guys, this is like mother effing the judge or, flicking off someone who's your executioner while your head's on the block, hoping that they don't swing the sword. But here we are. And sure as can be, they actually went back on it. So, first good decision that they've made in a long time, but what were your thoughts when you found out that Jim Harbaugh will no longer be the honorary captain for the University of Michigan?
Well, it just shows, first of all, I want to emphasize your point. For an institution that prides itself as being like, what the Harvard of the West, or, they've got this intellectual superior thing going on at Michigan. Their fan base is the dumbest fan base in all of sport. They are dumb. They make like the Alabama and some of the fan base that people make fun of, the Auburn fan base. They make those guys look like Rhodes Scholar. The Michigan fan base is so stupid. This on the heels of Conor Stalions coming out and going, I just made a video with all the signs and then I saw them and then I knew immediately what they were. And you read the comments from the Michigan fans that are like, this guy's the greatest. He's the GOAT. He's the best. And you're like, you guys are the stupidest fan base world. And same people, oh, Jim Harbaugh coming back. The way to go. Way to show it to the NCAA. And then a day later, they realize, oh my God, that's the dumbest decision that we could ever make. And so for something that's a nothing burger, remember all the Michigan insiders are sure, oh, this is a nothing burger. Nothing's going to, we're going to get a letter of apology from the NCAA over this one. There might not even be a notice of allegation, and, they might be a small fine to Conor Stalions. And this is not, all of a sudden they pull the invitation to Jim Harbaugh a day later. Wow. Things that make you go home about the thing. Maybe somebody at the board of trustees, maybe there's finally an adult in the room at Michigan. It's like, guys, what are we doing? This is so dumb. It seemed obvious at the time when it happened. We're like, guys, you can't do this. You just can't do this. They figured it out. It took them a day. They figured it out. But I wish they had gone through with it. I really do, because it would have been glorious. It would have just made it even better. But now, it's. I just think it's a funny sidelight on just a really disgusting story of a school that is the definition of out of control. Letting the tail wag the dog. The football program's everything to them. They're willing to cheat and lie and steal and do anything they can in an effort to have their little title that I really think is going to be taken away. And I would bet money that their Big Ten titles are going to be taken away. I'm just about there on the NCAA title. I think it's not going to be recognized. I think it's going to be vacated. And then where are you, Michigan? All of this cheating, you've ruined your reputation. All your stuff is vacated. It's all taken away from you. And where do you go from there? I guess at that point you just play the victim card and you just cry about NCAA overreach and how this is the big meanies and how we should there'll probably be lots of threads about leaving the Big Ten and starting our own football conference somewhere in Antarctica or something like that, because that's what happens when Michigan always threatens to leave and go to the SEC or something like that. So maybe they would leave. And so, Kirk, this could turn out to be one of the greatest things of all time. Like, they lose their national championships, they lose their Big Ten titles, they vacate their wins, and they leave the Big Ten. Could we ever be that blessed to have that thing happen? That would truly be the greatest cornucopia of goodness ever.
Yeah, it'd be monumental. Again, some rich board of trustees member or someone with some sense who's got some swing finally said, guys, like, let's stop acting like we didn't do anything wrong. Let's stop acting like we're invincible. The guy that you're bringing back just got suspended for a year. After it was trumpeted throughout the lands that Jim Harbaugh was flying back to sign an extension at the University of Michigan after Ward Manuel said, I'm gonna get Jim Harbaugh suspended or extended at the new at the championship celebration, and Jim Harbaugh knew what he was doing was wrong. And again, anyone that so believes him is just so impossibly dumb at this point. The guy says, I was taught never lie, never cheat, never steal, attack every day with an enthusiasm unknown to mankind. I mean, that might play to the dumbest Michigan fans. Like, the only thing dumber than a Michigan fan is like an Ohio State fan that supports a Michigan fan. Like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I'm just telling you, Jim Harbaugh literally went through this whole rigmarole, and then Conor Stalions, this documentary is going to be breathtaking. We'll probably just do a review on it as soon as it comes out, because for him to be a GA and say, again, there's this clip that's floating around. You can look it up on X, which is Twitter. And, he'd say, I recorded the 10,000 signals that I've seen before. And that's how I could memorize everything. I was like, of all of the dumb explanations I've ever heard on something, the fact that he said, I just made up all these 10,000 signals and then magically I could pick off every single one instantly. It's like, well, why did all of these people go scout these games and sit in person and video the signals when you're just like, I just have this gigantic hard drive filled with me doing this, flag, and doing this, Q Dog, and doing this, and Batman, and whatever, and somehow saying that is how you're able to pick off signals in real time in a football game where you have this little microscopic amount of time where you can pick it off, have it register in your brain, tell it to the coordinator, then the coordinator has to make the call. I mean, that happens lickety split. You can't just magically, this is what this is. It's run right, it's run left, it's whatever. So that'll be fascinating when that comes out, because I think that I don't know what word describes Conor Stalions. I think that he's almost to the level of Norman Bates, where he's schizophrenic and he's got some sort of a disease. Norman Bates thought he was his mom. Conor Stalions thinks that he's smart, thinks he's slick, and he's I started this Amazon LLC with Blake Corum selling used vacuums to make cash or launder money or whatever he did, and I also have this database of signals where magically I can say, I had because again, the fact that this guy literally said that he came out and videoed and took photos of 10,000 or different or whatever number, it was some insane. It wasn't it was 20. It was thousands of signals. I was like, that is the weirdest manifesto thing I've ever seen. This is a deranged person who is trying to fly up the coaching ladder, which you generally don't get to do unless your dad is a coach or your wife's dad is a coach or whatever. Like that's how like sometimes guys fly up the ladder. Otherwise, like you got to really grind to get your way up there. But Conor was looking for a way to get up there, and the signal thing was just it was breathtaking. But again, I don't ever give Michigan credit on anything. But the fact that there actually is somebody with a brain inside the organization somewhere who does have yank, because I'm sure that there were some Michigan people inside the university who were like, it's a little tone deaf to have a guy that just got suspended for a year as our honorary captain week one. But somebody with a brain and obviously a big wallet said, hey, maybe we shouldn't do this, because that they did a 180 in one day where it was this is going to be the Jim Harbaugh show. Then also it's like, better not do that. That might not be a good idea for the NCAA. Nevada, as this thing drags on, and again, I think that this thing's going to be, it'll be a decent amount of time to get all wrapped up, because again, with the forensics and again, they've got a whole committee that's reviewing everything and the punishment. Like the punishments are going to be severe. What are the next steps to you, and how do you see this working over the next month or so?
Well, I think the notice of allegations is imminent. I mean, that could be any day now, and when that comes out, I think for Ohio State fans, when this whole thing started, a lot of Ohio State fans were like, I don't think anything's going to happen to it, and that's fine. They didn't know what you and I know, and that's understandable. We try to explain to them, but when the first notice of allegation came out, they could read the Cheeseburger Gate stuff. I think that probably turned like 99% of the Ohio State fans where they're like, wow, this is really bad. Well, imagine what it's going to be like when they read the NOA on the Stallion stuff, because the Cheeseburger stuff, and I love calling it the Cheeseburger thing, but it was really the I never met these people thing, the absolutely denying, despite the fact that you've got testimony from the player's parents, the recruiting coordinator, receipts, I mean, everything. And Jim Harbaugh is still going, nope, never met, I have never met those people in my entire life. That's what we should call that one. But I think when this notice of allegation comes around, I'm not even sure if the most diehard Michigan fans are really going to be able to, deny it anymore, because it's going to be there in black and white. You're going to see the number of games. You're going to see the master spreadsheet. You're going to see also, so that everything he just said about, it's just all it's all a lie, but it's all provably a lie, because had you been able to do that, there would be no reason to send people to 58 games. There'd be no reason to be recording stuff from they've actually got video. There'd be no reason to dress up like a Central Michigan coach and spy on Michigan State. And so there's so many things of countervailing evidence to what he's saying. But I think once people read it in black and white in the notice of allegation, I really think it's gonna turn a lot of people. Not that public opinion matters in this, because I'm telling you what, I know the people in NCAA investigating. I know this. They don't care. They don't care about public opinion. They don't care about the Netflix documentary. They don't care about the media cycle. They don't care what the mass media is saying. But you're already seeing the narrative starting to turn. You're already starting to see more and more people come out there and say, oh, man, this is bad. And that's before they've seen the notice of allegations that's coming out on the Stallions, advanced surveillance, illegal sign stealing stuff. And when that comes out, on top of other recruiting violation stuff that they have, it's gonna show without question. Because you have to remember, the first notice of allegations for Michigan was served in January of 2023. Okay, 9 months later, Stalions is on the sideline, or 8 months later, is on the sidelines at the Central Michigan game stealing signs. So it's not like, they are the definition of a repeat offender. Because it's not that they just had two investigations kind of overlap. They knew that they were under an NCAA investigation, a notice of allegation for Cheeseburger Gate in January of 2023. And then 8 months later, they sent Stalions on the sidelines to the Central Michigan game. That gets them into lack of institutional control, repeat offender. They are going to get the most severe penalties possible on this thing. Mark that down and hold Nevadabuck to that, because that is going to happen. And it's undeniable. The timeline on that's undeniable. You can go check the timeline on that. if they don't get if they would not receive a repeat offender thing, no one should ever receive a repeat offender thing. And repeat offender, lack of cooperation, and then trying to actually inhibit an active NCAA investigation, dude, they are going to get crushed. And you know it, I know it, and now the rest of the world's starting to figure out. And that when that finally comes down, man, that's going to be a glorious day here on the Scoop.
I think it's troubling. Again, I've heard firsthand from the Cheeseburger Gate crew about how everything went down and how, when you've got a group of people that are in a restaurant and they've got the receipts and it's 6:30, they're supposed to meet, and he shows up a half hour late at 7, and they get cheeseburger and he gets a bacon cheeseburger and a glass of milk at 7 in the morning, which again, that is like serial killer mode right there. You're getting something like that. And he literally acts like he was never there. He had no idea. And then everyone that was there fingered him. And everyone there got interviewed and said, hey, no, this is where he was here. And we'll prove it. This is what he ate. He ate this bacon cheeseburger with milk. And they interview everybody separately. They corroborate the story. And the only guy who has amnesia is Jim Harbaugh. So again, he's the worst type of human being. He's a complete pathological liar, sociopath. Just does not care about reality, the truth. And again, people that think he got over, they're the same people say, well, Lance Armstrong made a lot of money when he was cheating and winning Tour de France's and peddling his Live Strong swag, and everybody had those stupid yellow bracelets on. But at the end of the day, does anybody look at Lance Armstrong today and say, wow, what a great guy. Wow, what a great role model. What a great champion. What an elite athlete. No, because he cheated his face off. Ben Johnson won the 100-meter dash, broke the world record, juiced to the gills. Like, nobody looks at him and is like, man, that's a guy that, man, I wish my kid could run like that. Let's go watch. You don't see his highlights on the Olympics anymore. So that's where Jim Harbaugh and Michigan are heading. And again, in the fact that I've said it a million times, the league, the NCAA moves a lot like the legal process. The legal process is very slow. It doesn't, they're not on your timeline. They don't, if fans want a decision or when's it happening or what's going on, like, they don't care. They move at their own speed because they don't move fast. They move correctly. That's what their edict is they want to do everything the right way to the best of their ability. And again, they've got pretty decorated compliance officers that are running this case and going through the line by line of the NCAA manual, which is boring to read as like an airline, deplaning instruction manual that you get. Like, that's like what this stuff is like. So they got to go through this and say, okay, well, he did this, and here's this testimony, and was this believable, and let's watch this interview again. And so it takes time. But once it all comes down, it's going to come down. And it is going to come down hard on Michigan. Because, again, we were the ones that were saying something's going to happen to these guys. It's going to be pretty bad. And with the Cheeseburger Gate, people were like, oh, well, he got suspended for a year, but he doesn't work there anymore. And he got a 4-year show clause. It doesn't work. It's like, but that's like just that's like the tip of the iceberg. Like that, then once you get into the repeat offender and the way he's just been belligerent with the NCAA, he's been on this thing. He's been on an incredible streak of just lying, which is going to crush his credibility going forward. And again, these NCAA guys, like, they don't take kindly to being lied to being misled. And again, like, this isn't like, oh, I forgot, this detail, that's all. Like, he just acts like he wasn't ever there. Like, he's like, well, if I act like I had no idea I was at this breakfast and I ate a cheeseburger, then there's no way they could ever pin it on me. But in reality, they've got, a group of people that were there that all say, oh yeah, he was there. He was late. He ate a cheeseburger and a glass of milk and said, hey, come to Michigan. You'd love Michigan. Be a Michigan man, blah, 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 blah. So when you just out and out lie over and over again, it just compounds into how devastating this is going to be for Michigan. So, Nevada, any thoughts on that? And we can dig into some team stuff, and we're starting to get some super chats.
Well, no, just I just nothing more on that. But I want to say on another Michigan note, JJ McCarthy hurt himself today and tore his meniscus, and looks like he's going to be out for half the season or whatever it is. And I just want to tell you that really saddens me because I know we can never express joy over an injury. So I'm just want you to know that I'm really sad because I know that you're a big JJ McCarthy fan. You've talked about how great he'll be and how he'll be your first pick in the fantasy draft. So I just want you to know, are you still going to take him first pick in the fantasy draft, or are you going to save it for like a later round sleeper type of selection in the on the Burt Carton fantasy team?
I'm taking Caleb Williams. That's my guy right there,
Yeah,
man. You give me Caleb Williams with I mean, you're throwing it to Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, and yeah, they'll stink and they'll be behind in every game. Like I'm taking Caleb Williams. I've never. JJ's had fantastic infrastructure. So again, I can already predict he's going to suck as an NFL rookie quarterback. Drake May is going to suck. No talent around him at all. Rookie head coach. He's a defensive guy. No, he has no chance in the universe. The kid from Washington has a shot just because he's got Terry McLaurin. He's got legit weaponry around him. He's got Jahan Dotson. So he has a shot. Offensive coach, or excuse me, he's got Quinn, but he's got a good offensive coordinator. Caleb Williams, I think, is going to be awesome. I really do. I think that they're going to be behind a lot. JJ, again, if you put anybody out there with Justin Jefferson, I think that they're going to be adequate. But then you throw in Addison and Hawkinson, and I'm think that's pretty strong. I wouldn't take Sam Darnold just because he's been washed, but God, it's fun to be a quarterback in the NFL, man. So I think Sam Darnold's making like $14 million this year to be a backup, or he was supposed to back up JJ, but now it looks like he's going to be the locked-in starter. So I don't know. I'm real big on infrastructure, man. Tua wasn't real good, and then all of a sudden they get Tyreek Hill, and he's really, really good, and Waddle and Mike McDaniel's calling the plays. So I don't know. I'm an infrastructure guy. I've always been an infrastructure guy. I don't care about JJ McCarthy. I think that he is a product of a devastatingly good running game, a very good offensive line, and a very good defense. And it carried him to national championship, but I don't think he's a franchise guy. But I thought he had a chance to be good just because, hey, dude, you throw to Justin Jefferson. I don't think you have to be very talented to be great when you have a receiver like that. It's kind of like having like Devontae Adams. Like he'll make Jimmy Garoppolo or Aiden O'Connell look good because he's so open every time you throw him the ball. So it's just my opinion. I think that when these guys match up with the right coordinators and the right receivers, they can look a lot better than they are. And I thought JJ, if he could have started with Addison and Jefferson and Hawkinson, like I don't know. I don't think Minnesota's going to be very good, so they're probably going to be behind in most games, throwing most games, and when your head coach is a quarterback, he's probably going to throw it 80% of the time because that's what these guys that are passing game guys like Ryan Day, they are chuck and duck, and they are chuck and duck. That is the offense. We're going to throw it 75 times a game and try to get it into the end zone and take deep shots. And when you've got Addison and Justin Jefferson, it's like, why not? And again, with Ryan, he's had Marvin Harrison and Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave and Jackson Smith and Jigba and Emeka Egbuka. So it's like, I can't blame him for throwing it when you've got those kinds of receivers. But I don't think that it's a great way to manufacture wins when you play real teams. Like when you play like Georgia, like it's hard to beat those guys if you can't control the clock and get stops. Nevada, any other thoughts? We'll get into some super chats.
No, just shout out to our boy Peyton Pierce who lost his stripe, joined the Brotherhood, and we talked about it last night. Man, Laurinaitis doing work in that linebacker room. All those guys: Sonny Styles, C.J. Hicks, Cody Simon, Gabe Powers, Peyton Pierce, Arvell Reese. I mean, they're all balling out right now, and it's not a coincidence that the GOAT James Laurinaitis is now the linebacker coach designated on the field, hand to hand with those guys every day, and that linebacker room is all of a sudden blossoming like crazy. So shout out to them for sure.
Yeah, he's a difference maker, man. He's going to be a special cat. I'm really excited about what he's going to do with the linebackers, and I think Sonny's going to have a big year, man. I think Sonny's he's got that upside and that range, and I think that the less that he can cover and the more that he can be physical and play downhill and blitz, the better he is. I don't want a 6'5" guy back running around in coverage versus shorter, quicker receivers. I'm not saying he can't do it, but I don't think that's his strength when he should be aggressively, pass rushing in the pass rush, adding. He should be the guy. I'd be the guy. He'd be the guy I'd want to put it on a running back in man coverage, just because that running back stays in protect, man, he's got to go block Sonny. And with Sonny's long arms, man, if he blitzes, like there's no running back in the universe that can block him without cutting him. Because like a Sonny will bull rush any of these little short armed running backs into into infinity. So you put a tailback on Sonny, man, it's going to be a losing proposition over and over again. All right, let's get some super chats going up. Mike Green, thank you for the deuce. Oh, here we go, Nevada. I appreciate you, my friend. All they're going to say is, oh, Jimmy was too busy. That was the rhetoric that they threw out, of course. But, when they made this big, giant announcement, a day or two ago, whenever Ward Manuel came out and said, we can't wait to see Jim Harbaugh and we can't wait to welcome him home and blah, blah, blah. Like, I'm sure before they put all that out, they checked with him and said, hey, Jim, we know that you're off this week. Would you mind if we sent a private jet to pick you up and make you the honorary captain or whatever? We'd love to honor you and championship and blah, blah, blah. And I'm sure he said, oh yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to be back in the big house and see the guys. And, the NFL always has this, they always have this week where it's like the preseason wraps up and then they have like a week off where teams make final cuts. They kind of get their roster all together. So basically, like college football, like week 1 of college football is going on, but the NFL is off. Like there's no preseason games at all because the rosters are being finalized, and most guys get cut like the day after the last preseason game, and then they go through waivers and they kind of stack the rosters up over the weekend. But a lot of coaches, they don't usually get out of Dodge because they're game planning for week 1. But players have 48 hours off where they can go if they want to go get out for a couple nights and get LA. They can. And then all of a sudden it's right back to the grind. So Harbaugh was able to make it, and I'm sure they asked him and they put the statement out. But again, somebody inside Michigan is starting to act intelligently and say, hey, is this really the best course of action? Is this not? Again, I keep referencing that they keep doing the double middle fingers to the NCAA and the investigators and the rest. And that's just what a lot of this stuff feels like. And then they finally said, you know what? We've been so defiant and we've been so stupid through this whole entire process. Maybe we should back it down a little bit and let's actually kind of be understated and be more hat in hand and say, hey, may the NCAA have mercy on our souls. So I mean, that's where I was, because again, when they announced that, I was like, you want to talk about dumb? You want to talk about irresponsible? You want to talk about putting the program in even deeper jeopardy? That's it. Again, when you've got a governing body that's got the fate of your program in their hands, and you're flipping them off, and you're bringing in the coach that they just suspended for a year, who skated, mind you, he skated. I get it. Like people say, oh, well, he didn't get suspended. It's like getting suspended from a job that you don't work at anymore. I'm like, well, yeah, but it still isn't like the greatest thing to have on your resume when you're Jim Harbaugh or you're Michigan. If he would have stayed and actually signed an extension, which we knew he was never going to do because he knew what he did was going to lead to something like this. So he got out and went as far away as like if Alaska had an NFL team, he'd probably be coaching the Alaska Black Bears or whatever. He wanted to get as far away from Michigan as possible, and he did get to Los Angeles. But yeah, I think that Michigan made their first smart decision in a while. Nevada, your thoughts? Mike Green, he says all they're going to say is that Jimmy is too busy. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, again, they can. That Michigan fans are going to be coping heavily on this stuff, but yeah, it was so obvious when this happened. I would have laid odds that they were going to pull the thing because there was no way you could go through with this when you're staring down the barrel of NCAA Armageddon. There was no way that this was going to go through. So yeah, they can say what they want, but Ohio State, it's kind of like the whole Harbaugh skated thing. I mean, a year suspension that in and of itself, I can't remember a head coach ever being suspended for a year. Like I've gone through my memory banks, I've searched, I can't come up with one. So we're talking about unprecedented territory here, and that's for lying to the NCAA. Wait till the good stuff comes on. Wait till the repeat offender stuff comes on. Wait till Sharon Moore, the current head coach for Michigan, gets a show cause. What are they going to do then? I mean, I'm ready for the Tony Alford experience to begin there at Michigan, and he can cry during the games, and I'll interview him and stuff like that. And it become like a tradition at Michigan that every year their head coach is suspended or something like that. But yeah, the Michigan fans will be making excuses, but we all know the truth.
Yeah, it is interesting because like I said, they just put this out a day or two ago, or 2 days ago, when they said Jim Harbaugh is going to be the honorary captain, and so all of a sudden, like I don't know if they finally got a PR department or who finally came to their senses, but they yanked this back, and Jim Harbaugh knew the schedule, and somehow they agreed to this, and I just like I don't know, just breathtakingly stupid at this point. Chocolate chip Scoochie, thanks for the deuce. I hope you're doing good, my friend. Harbaugh rubbing his hands together as an honorary captain. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I mean, I can't believe that he would agree to do that initially. Like, I thought that was pretty crazy. I mean, like, again, if I'm Jim Harbaugh and I got out of Michigan, like you're on the last train of players to get out, like, I just don't understand how you'd ever, I don't know how you could ever decide to come back and show your face. Again, like Jim Harbaugh got on like the last escape pod before the spaceship blew out. He like blasted off, got out of there, and all of a sudden it's like he wanted to like turn the escape pod around and fly back to the debris of the spaceship that got blown up. And so, I don't know. Like it was bizarre that they decided to make him honorary captain. It was even more bizarre. Like, of all the guys in the world that I would think would dodge it and say, "Hey, I'm good. Let's focus on the current team," or and again, he's flying from Los Angeles. I mean, this isn't a 45-minute flight. This is Nevada from California, from Los Angeles, from LAX or whatever private airport to Ann Arbor. What is it, 5 hours, 5.5 hours, maybe, whatever, 4.5.
Yeah, it's 4.5 hours out.
So I mean, this isn't like a 40-minute flight. This is that's you're gonna go wave at the crowd, and then you're gonna go get back on the plane, and you're gonna fly right back. Like, you're not gonna spend the night there. So I mean, and again, I'm sure he's on a private jet. This is a $60,000-$70,000 trip to come and wave and walk out to the coin toss and anger the NCAA to no end. So, I don't know if Jim Harbaugh just doesn't care, and he doesn't care if he agitates the NCAA because he feels like he's untouchable now because he's in the NFL. But I don't know how that ever helped Michigan. His alleged beloved alma mater. Like, that's what I can't understand. It's like, you're going to do all this stuff and you're going to really tick off these guys. They're going to levy. They're going to they're going to execute your entire program because you're acting like a douchebag. And, well, I don't know. I wasn't at that breakfast. I didn't eat a cheeseburger. I don't even know what a cheeseburger is. I don't even know what milk is. I didn't order any of that. I don't know who any of these people are. Okay, well, that's not what everyone in the room says. But okay, you can play dumb with us. But like I said, when you're in these situations, man, I say you fess up and you beg for mercy, and you want, and again, Arizona State, which we talked about ad nauseum, exemplary cooperation throughout the entire process, and they still got smashed by the NCAA. So when you're just being a total douchebag like Jim Harbaugh's been, then I don't know. Like, is that going to help you and help your program or your former program in the long run? No, it's going to be terrible. Nevada, Chocolate Chip Scoochie, thanks for the deuce. He says, Harbaugh rubbing his hands together as an honorary captain. We talked about it, but any other thoughts on that?
No, it was an impossibly bad idea. But somebody there at Michigan thought it was good. That's the crazy thing, is that somebody thought it was good enough to put out there to the world, and just the reaction was so universally negative. So, like, what the heck are these guys thinking? They had to pull it back, and that just makes me laugh so hard because it's such a predictable result, but it is funny to watch it play out over 24 hours.
Yeah, it's like amazing. It's like they had the same PR people as, like, you see some of these classically bad marketing campaigns, like you think of like Bud Light and some of these, and it's like they put out some campaign and it just destroys the brand like forever. And you're like, did Michigan hire these same people to say, hey, you know what, fly him in and tell him, I mean, you might as well just burn the NCAA in effigy too while he's out there, like light a giant NCAA logo on fire. It's absolutely nuts, man. Buckeye BA, thank you for the deuce. Waiting for the get together at the River in Portsmouth. Yeah, we got to get that. We got to get that scheduled. I got to figure out when some of my guys from down there are ready to roll because I love the River. The River is one of the gems of Ohio. I absolutely love it, and I'm going to get that all the way gone. But yeah, and bye, Freda. You're a douchebag. See you, buddy. So he is now officially gone from our channel. Sorry, Nevada, I had to ban somebody in the chat. But yeah, I'll get that scheduled. If you're on BuckeyeScoop.com, maybe start a thread with AT because he does a lot of that work. So it's really a good deal to get that all scheduled. Nevada, you've never been to the River, obviously. You don't get down to Portsmouth very often, but it is a good spot.
Not. No, I definitely. I mean, so tell me about the menu. Just tell me what they serve. Like it's like steaks or something like that. Is that basically what it is?
Yeah, it's steaks and that type of thing. Steaks, potatoes. It's like the stuff that you love, like the steak, potato.
Oh, but
Yeah, so
yeah.
it's
I was gonna say,
yeah,
that's like I will go anywhere for a good steak and potato.
yeah, exactly. So it's really good. They use a wood fire. It's absolutely fantastic. So I love it, and it'll be a good time. I'm really excited to head out there and check it out because it's always a good deal. Let's see. Another super chat. I appreciate you, Jim. I see you're up here. Let me get this next one up on the board. All right, here we go. W Buckeye, thanks for the 10. Appreciate you, man. Hey, guys, good to see everyone. One question. Any evaluation on the new punter from Australia, and will he make an impact on special teams? I've actually heard the kid from Buffalo is more accurate. We got a couple transfer guys in at punter, and obviously McCarthy has a huge leg, but it kind of sprays all over the place. So, again, with the way we punt now, like having a huge leg is great if you're pinned back deep. But at the same token, the way we punt is, we like to hang it up in the air for, 5 seconds or whatever and have our guys, the gunners, run down and scream at the punt returner and force a fair catch and kind of deny any opportunity to field a punt and get any sort of return. Which again, that was a big urban thing, especially with the rugby style kicking. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see who wins it. I hope that the punter isn't a factor, but sometimes having a great punter, like when we had Cam Johnson, that was huge. He's still in the league. I was shocked that Jesse Mirko left, but he obviously doesn't want to play in the NFL, so he went to Vanderbilt and started his graduate degree. He would have been nice to have this year, I'll tell you, but I think we'll be fine. Like I said, we've got a great coverage team. We've got some really young, good, hungry athletes that want to play on that, so I'll be really excited to see that. Nevada, any news on Nick McCarthy, the new punter from Australia, and what impact do you think he will make on special teams?
Yeah, I think with the big punter, the big thing is his get off. He's a little slow on the get off. He's got the big leg when he kicks it, but he takes a little extra hop to kind of get there. And it was funny because on that famous viral video that the show before his recruitment, they showed him kicking that one like 70 yards like over the building. And one of the things you noticed from watching it is, man, it took him a little long to get that thing off. Well, that's kind of his thing. So big leg, slow get off. So I'm not, he's got to improve that because as you're well aware, getting a punt blocked because you're slow getting the punt out is death. It's death for gamblers. It's death for winning games. I think when you run regression analysis and you see, what's the biggest single indicator of whether you win or lose is if you had a kick blocked. And, for Ohio State, they just don't want to have that happen. So that's kind of the thing with him. Big leg, slow get off. So I think he's got to figure that out before he can become a viable weapon for Ohio State.
Totally agree. Yeah, it'll be interesting. And again, that's the name of the game because he's got a cam. He's huge. He's 6'7". Like he's like somebody's like Darren Bennett, who was maybe the strongest legged punter that's ever lived. With Leckler and the kid that Kansas City has, the kid that they got after the Bills got him. These guys that have huge legs are great, but hopefully you're not pinned back deep to the point where you need to get off a 70-yard punt to try to flip the field. Mike Green, again, thank you for the 5. Why does these dummies, the team up north, beat writers, keep blaming us for the allegations? Like it's not three other teams involved. Well, I mean, like, I don't know why you blame Ohio State when, Penn. I mean, most teams in the Big Ten that this happened to, they turned in all of the evidence that they had to the Big Ten, who forwarded to the NCAA. I mean, the SEC came out of the woodwork and they turned in the fact that these guys were buying tickets to the SEC championship to scout Alabama or Georgia, or whoever. So, I mean, it's not, this isn't, Ohio State has nothing to do with this. I mean, this is a league-wide deal. Because, again, it's not like they just scouted Ohio State. They scouted all of the good teams in the league. Now, again, I don't think that they don't need to scout, Western Michigan and, UNLV and some of the patsies that they played. But, like, when they're playing real teams, like, they got to scout those guys. So, Michigan State, again, like, as delusional as Conor Stalions is and Jim Harbaugh, like, him being on the sideline for that Michigan State, Western Michigan then denying it and then Western Michigan doesn't come out with anything. And then they finally fire their one coach who was obviously the guy that let Conor on the sideline or got him on the sideline. And tells you all you need to know. Because, again, he can say, oh, I made all these signals up and everybody, she says, like, dude, again, to my knowledge, I've never seen a coach on another team's sideline in season the day before a game on a Friday. Because, again, if you're Conor Stalions and you're making 25, 30 grand at Michigan, you're working Friday night. Like you're working, you're at the team walkthrough, you're at the team meal, you're at the hotel, you're going through scripts, you're making sure everything's perfect. Like I would be there on Friday nights just to make sure if there was anything that we needed to get done as graduate assistants when I was there with Drew Maringer, like we were there. If they got to change the script, like we have to go reprint the scripts or redo the call sheets or whatever. Like anything that could go wrong, and we had to be there. And if they needed us to, go snag a couple players to walk through some plays or get the guys together for the test review, or there are a lot of times like I'd be grading tests. Like me and Ed Warner and I we would grade some of the stuff, and like I would usually grade. Maybe Ed would take the starters, I'd take the backups, and we'd grade the tests together so that it'd be a little bit less work, but put little comments down. So like I couldn't have snuck out and gone and driven an hour away to go watch a game and get. And again, you don't get there when the game starts. You're getting there like hour and a half before the game, so you're getting there pretty early. Like normally when a team would be going through walkthrough and get ready to go to the team meal, like that's when he was showing up to the gates at East Lansing. So, again, like I know that Jim Harbaugh is the king of not knowing. I mean, that is, if there is one thing that he should be put in the Hall of Fame for, it's that he just doesn't know anything. So again, in the history of college football, I've never seen a guy make so much money and be such a good coach that just doesn't know anything. He has no idea what his staff's doing. And again, in this world, it's just like if you're the CEO of Walmart and your merchandise is being made in a sweatshop, you're held accountable for that. Like you can't say, oh, I didn't know. I would never guess that that's happening. So, no, that's not how the world works anymore. Like there's transparency. So when Jim Harbaugh's like, well, I had no idea about the sign stealing, and I don't know why this intern who's making 20 grand a year is talking to my coordinator before every play, and it's like I don't know what that means. I've never heard of that. I've never seen that, and I don't know why he's talking to my offensive coordinator and blah blah blah. And I'm like, again, Jim Harbaugh, he likes to play dumb, but he's sly like a fox. He knows exactly what's going on. He hopes that you guys listen to the national pundits, the Michigan media, a lot of the local media around here, and they're just saying, oh, well, I mean, that's normal, or oh, he got off or whatever. It's like, no, this is going to be hammer time. And again, like with what Conor was doing, it's so abnormal in the game of football to have an intern talking to a coordinator who's making $2 million a year that I literally have never seen it before. I've never seen it. And I challenge you guys. You guys watch NFL preseason football this week. Watch the coordinators when they pan to them. Watch the O coordinator, D coordinator. If the head coach is calling plays, tell me if you see a little intern talking to these guys before every play at any point. Please let me know when you see that. When you see that, say, Kirk, I saw Sean McVay having the little Geppetto talk to him in his ear before every play, and he's looking at him and he's getting the stuff, and it just doesn't happen, at any level ever. So again, that's where I'm at. Nevada, This is great. Mike Green again, thanks for the 5, says, why do these dummies from the team at North beat writers keep blaming us, as in Ohio State, for the allegations? It's not like there aren't 3 other teams involved. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, well, I look. First of all, the Michigan people would love nothing more than for Ohio State, for everybody just to drop this. They hate the fact that the NCAA cares about this, that we care about this, that people are still talking about it, because think about it, it's in their best interest. They love everybody. Oh, let's just move on. Let's just get over this and turn the page and kind of move on. And no, I mean, I want justice to be done. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna stop, talking about this story until I feel like the NCAA is seen it, rendered a decision on it, and justice is being done. So that's the first thing. Secondly, is there anybody who has less credibility with the NCAA than Jim Harbaugh? I mean, Jim Harbaugh just got hit with a year suspension, not over a cheeseburger. For an investigation that they actually had to come out and say, this isn't about a cheeseburger. This is about lying to the NCAA. So when he's lied to the NCAA, they know that he's a liar. That's proven. That's what's known as a fact not in dispute. He is a liar. In the NCAA's eyes, in everybody's eyes, they know he's a liar. So now when he goes, I didn't know anything about Conor Stalions. Not that it makes any difference in the eyes of the NCAA, because as you rightfully pointed out, the institution, the head coach is responsible for everything that goes on below him, whether they can prove direct knowledge or not. But when he says, I didn't know, does he have any credibility? And the answer is no. And then my third point on that is, let's say that he didn't know. Let's go to the point and say didn't know. To me, that demonstrates the fact that how out of control this football program would have to be for this guy to be running around while you're on NCAA, you're under an NOA for a first offense. 8 months later, he is disguised as a Central Michigan coach on the sideline at a Michigan State game, stealing the signs of Michigan State with spy glasses on. That shows you how out of control you are. You don't have any idea what's going on. It's a classic case of lack of institutional control. It's the ones that deserve the harshest penalties, and Michigan's going to get them, and they deserve them. And it's not Ohio State's fault, and it's not Kirk and Nevada's fault, and it's not Tony Petitti's fault. It's your fault for cheating, and you're going to get what's coming to you, and it's coming right soon.
It's going to be absolutely fantastic, and I love it. It's going to be a great time when this all goes down. This will be another great podcast. Jim Jackson, what's up, brother? Thank you for the 5. Hope you're all good. Kirk, if we lose David Sanders, how much of the responsibility falls on the O-line coach, Nevada OH? Well, I mean, I think it's his responsibility to recruit the room at a national level. I think he has the hardest position to recruit on the team. I've said 1,000 times, if you guys watch the show, that these big guys don't like to go far from home. And David Sanders wants to play in the SEC. So I don't know how you fight that. If that's like what his MO is. And I heard some craziness about David Sanders yesterday. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm not going to be in the hearsay game. But if what I was told is true, and again, it's not sour grapes. I don't think it's sour grapes, but I don't know. But I heard some demands, and I was like, that is wild. So again, I don't care. I mean this sincerely. I don't care if we get David Sanders. If he wants to go to Tennessee and go, 5-7 every year and wallow along, then we'll survive somehow, some way. Again, when we don't get one of these guys that we're going to offer a huge NIL deal to, this is money that we get to spend in free agency. So we'll be fine. Again, Ohio State has survived losing Chantrell Henderson and Jackson Carmen and Samson Okunloa and J.C. Latham and all these other guys where the whole universe is going to collapse if we didn't get these guys. So, like Josh Petty picks Georgia Tech. I don't know what to say when a kid picks Georgia Tech over Ohio State. It's not like he went to Georgia or Bama or Texas or somewhere that's a traditional powerhouse school. He went to a school that stinks, frankly, and they've been in the toilet for a long time. And then with David Sanders, it's just, I don't know what else we could have done. Greg Studwara used to get these guys, but again, I don't know if it was Greg Studwara. I don't know if it was Urban Meyer. I don't know if our recruiting department used to work a lot harder. I don't know, but we used to get 5-star out-of-state guys all the time, and we don't anymore. But again, all I care about is the 2024 season. I care about Josh Simmons getting back healthy after the hand, foot, and mouth disease stuff. This line getting back rolling. Donnie Jackson getting back rolling. because that's all I care about. I don't care about recruiting. I don't care about a freshman that probably won't contribute for a couple years. Because again, like David Sanders Jr. is a very good player. Is he good enough to start as a freshman on a great team? No, he's not. And again, and I could be wrong. And he might start at Tennessee, but Tennessee's not going to be, some juggernaut next year. So they throw these freshmen like Josh Petty will probably start for Georgia Tech next year. Are they going to be a team that we're going to see in the playoffs? No. Is Tennessee going to be a team we're going to see in the playoffs? No. So, as much as people are going to have heartburn and consternation about David Sanders Jr., I don't care. I've seen this movie a million times. We always seem to survive and find good players on our offensive line, and we'll be fine. So that is my opinion. Nevada, your thoughts. Again, Jim, I appreciate you. Thanks for the 5. Hey, Kirk, if we lose David Sanders Jr., how much of the responsibility falls on the O-line coach? What are your thoughts?
Well, there's fault and there's responsibility. I'd say it's 100. I mean, it's the responsibility of the position coach to recruit his position. Now, lots of people help out on that. All the other coaches, the head coach, the recruiting court. I mean, everybody helps out. Everybody pitches in terms of doing stuff. But look, I am no Justin Fry apologist, and I'm not even sure how good of a coach Justin Fry. I'm just going to put that out there. But is it his fault if we lose David Sanders? I'm just not sure what else he could have done. So, if he got the name wrong, or he yelled at him when he came, or he was sleeping through his recruitment, then we could point fingers. But I just don't know what Ohio State. I'm not going to blame the collective. I know what they've put their best foot forward on that. I can't blame Fry for it. I mean, it's his responsibility, but it's not his fault, if that makes any sense. So we'll be fine. I go back to Derek Moore. Remember we lost Derek Morris? That was, I guess maybe that was when you were like a senior in high school or something like that.
Yep.
But Derek Morris was going to be the next big thing. Never turned out to be anything. So you never know. So I just don't worry. I don't worry about it because I've just seen this movie too many times, man. When you have a clothing line made in Pakistan with your own thing and you're an offensive lineman, to me, that's not a positive indicator. That's just not. Now, Nevada, you're an old head. People want to buy David Sanders gear, and I think that stuff's kind of silly, but that's just my opinion. Not gonna, even if we get him, I would say it's kind of silly. So, but that's just my opinion.
And newsflash, nobody's going to buy David Sanders gear. I promise you. I mean, Brandon Innes had a clothing line, and I love Brandon. I love BI. He's great, but he doesn't have it anymore. And why is that? Because nobody bought anything. So, I love Brandon Innes, and he's a flashy receiver, best receiver in the country when he came out, and people don't buy. I mean, unless you're Michael Jordan, maybe LeBron, but I mean, LeBron barely has merch anymore. So it's and he's maybe the best NBA player who's ever lived. But so when some 18-year-old is like, man, I'm going to make David Sanders gear. I'm just like, dude, go do another squat, go do another deadlift, go get go run a couple more miles, man. Don't waste your time on doing merch when you've never played a snap in college football. And again, could he be great? Sure. I mean, but if a guy's worried about his merchandise line, I don't know. I don't know. If I was advising him, I'd say, just worry about being great and don't worry about T-shirts that nobody's going to buy anyways. Mark Pollitt, thank you for the 20 features, my friend. Just curious, would Burke Carton have been an All-American with poor O-line coaching, or does talent override poor coaching? Nevada OH. I think it's very hard to overcome poor coaching. I really do. I think that what Jim Bowman taught me, especially with my hand placement, was excellent. And it was something that Charles Bentley got really good at, and he signed the biggest deal in NFL history for a center before he blew his knee out with the Browns. And again, Bowles had detractors because, again, if you coach at Ohio State and you're an offensive line coach or an offensive coordinator, you will have a ton of people that hate you. That's just part of the gig. And if you're a guy that actually has both titles for 10 years like Bowles did, a lot of people are going to hate you. They're going to think you suck. They're going to think you're not any good, whatever. But I thought he was a good technical coach. We generally did a good job getting in front of people, moving people. We did not have the most dynamic offense in the world. So there was not a lot of smoke and mirrors and shadows and motions and trickery. It was like, hey, we're going to run it right at you guys. We're going to run the same few plays over and over again. And we were really good at it. So, like I said, we went to 2 national championship games. We won the Big Ten, 05, 06, 07, outright Big Ten championships. So, like we ran through the Big Ten. Like we won the Big Ten so many times that it wasn't even like fun to win the Big Ten anymore. It was almost like it got to the point where winning the Big Ten was just like winning. It was like beating Akron because we did it so many times in a row. Because we did it 08, 09, 10, 12 we couldn't. Lost in 13, 14 we won it. So it was like we had this run where it was really impressive by Truss and by Jim Bowman. But I think it's really hard at O-line. It's impossible if you have poor line coaches. I had some terrible line coaches in the NFL, and I had some great ones. So again, and there's a big difference. And the thing about coaching O-line is there probably isn't a position that has more variance between styles and preferences, and this is how we want to do this, and this is how we want to step, and this is how we want to use our hands. And I mean, it's my rookie year when I was on all those different teams, like you're like in a blender because we're like, this is how my old line, this is how Harry Heason wanted it, this is how Mike Mazer wanted it, this is how Chris Forrester wanted it. I mean, wildly different stuff to accomplish the same objective. So again, I think that it's hard to be an All-American unless you have great line. Yeah, you gotta have great line coaching, and you gotta have a good offense. Like again, it's hard to be first-team All-American offensive lineman if you are 130th in the nation on offense, unless you're just that dominant and you're just pile driving guys every play. Like I think that it comes in coordination with the offense being good. I think that like the high
Peter
tide
Skronsky.
raise, yeah,
Peter Skronsky.
Yeah. I don't want to get started on Peter Skronsky. I really don't. Like we had Paris Johnson, who's better in every single facet of life than Peter Skronsky, and he doesn't win the Big Ten Lineman of the Year because we don't promote him ever. Did you show me the Paris Johnson promotional stuff? I never saw it. I mean, Paris should have been up for the Outland. He should have been at the major ceremonies, but didn't promote the guy. So a 1-11 offensive lineman got the award over Paris, who got drafted way ahead of him and was a pure left tackle. So I don't know. That is a good call, Nevada. Way to get me started tonight. I appreciate you. That's a good call. It's a good call. I can't say anything about it. Speedman 606, thanks for the 5. Thanks for being an ultra member as well. Like Forrest said, stupid is as stupid does. Yes, that's one of the greatest movies ever made. That's a whole lot of stupid in Ann Arbor, from the administration down to the most delusional fan. Nevada OH. Yeah, there are some really, really dumb Michigan fans, and then there's some, there are fans that support the dumb Michigan fans, which is even worse. That are like they're fake Ohio State fans. So it's a lot of stupid. I mean, somebody finally came to their senses and said, "Hey guys, we might want to stop, thumbing our noses at Jim Harbaugh." But like I said, Jim Harbaugh at the NCAA with Jim Harbaugh. Like, don't Jim Harbaugh's already, he hasn't skated on this thing, but I think that he feels a little emboldened when he can say, haha, I never lied and I never cheated. And he literally outright lied. I'm just outright scumbag liar. And he doesn't care because, again, he feels like he got off. And, again, when they take the banner down, it'll be all different. And all of a sudden, be like, yeah, we knew you guys were liars. We knew you guys were cheaters. And you guys are going to get nuked into the Stone Age. I'll be excited for it. Nevada, your thoughts? Stupid is as stupid does, and that's a whole lot of stupid in Ann Arbor, from the administration down to the most delusional fan. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, they do have the most delusional fan base, and it's kind of funny how like they win their one little title, they beat Ohio State for 3 years, and it's like they've rewritten what's gone on like the past 20 years, and I don't know. I'm just so looking forward to sending them back scoring to their little holes, because they were gone. We exterminated those weasels for a long time, and you couldn't even find Michigan hoodies or anything. But now you see a few more, even though they don't wear that national championship gear. The national championship gear is all on its way to poor little kids in Africa or something like that. They're going to be wearing the national championship vacated gear, because even the Michigan fans know. They know that's what they don't want to buy that stuff. That's why that store's going bankrupt, and they're returning all that stuff, because even the most ardent fans know that it's completely tainted. They cheated for it, and they're probably giving it back. So yeah, bad times ahead for Michigan fans, and but I think it's going to hit them the hardest because they are so delusional that they're not even in touch with any reality now. And I blame their insiders and I blame their media for leading them down this path of everything's going to be great. Jim Harbaugh's going to sign an extension. The band's going to play on, and we've been telling you all along that none of that was true, and we've been vindicated at every turn, and we'll be vindicated when this final NOA comes out, and we'll take a final victory lap on their grave.
It'll be absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate you. Thank you for the 5. Fredo looks like Banjo Boy from Deliverance. Scoop family for life. We rally around the family with a pocket full of shells. I love Rage Against the Machine. But yeah, he's a troll. He's gone. He's been banned again. But people like to make new names, and it's fine because, again, you got to remember we get monetized when people watch our show. So when he's on there, he's actually getting us some money. So thank you. Mike Green, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my man. We took our butt kicking like a man, ready to fire everyone, losing the team up north until we found out they were cheating to beat us. We didn't need this for the team up north. Yeah, I think that's the only thing you can really do in life is when you lose a game and you got to go face the music. It sucks, but when you find out like why you were losing, it doesn't make it any better. And I don't think it provides any solace for CJ Stroud and some of these guys that had a chance to really have huge careers and they didn't get it done. So, I was kicking it with, I was with Vince Young last night for a couple hours and talking to him, and that dude won the Natty. Life's kind of made in the shade for Vince. He's a great dude. He's going to come on the show pretty soon here. But like your life changes when you win a national championship. And obviously CJ's set for life. Like CJ's going to have his next contract will be, $700 million, whatever it's going to be. And, when he comes up in 2 years in for his contract, but adding a Natty to that and a Heisman, you're in the conversation for being the GOAT in the history of football. By the time he's all said and done, he might not win 7 Super Bowls, but if he wins a Heisman, national championship, and then has the career that he's projected to have, then I don't know, pretty special in my opinion. Nevada, any thoughts? Mike Green again, thanks for the 5, said we took our butt kicking like men, ready to fire everyone, losing to the team up north until we found out they were cheating to beat us. We didn't need this for that team up north. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, and look, it changed the trajectory of a lot of coaches' careers, and it changed the way that people perceive Ryan Day. It changed C.J. Stroud, but I always look for the blessing, and the blessing is that a lot of these guys, a lot of these seniors that came back for one more crack at Michigan in the shoe. And that's what we can talk about NIL, we can talk about that, but having unfinished business was part of it. And so I thank Michigan for doing it, because it gives me an opportunity to see JT and, Jack Sawyer and Tyleek and Denzel and Cody Simon and Jordan Hancock, a lot of guys that I would never seen again one more time. And they're going to lay it on Michigan this year. And I that's another bet that I tell you guys, get early action on Ohio State versus Michigan, because I think that's going to be a blowout.
Totally agree. Gio did it. What's up, my friend? Thank you for the 5. Hope you're doing great. I've been out on Dave Sanders Jr. for a while. He obviously is a homebody who doesn't want to come to OSU where the pressure starts day one. Yeah, there's still pressure going to Tennessee, but it's not like Ohio State, because Tennessee's just they're not projected to be as good as we are, like ever. So, whatever he does, great. If he commits to Tennessee on Saturday, then great. Have a nice life. Don't care about you anymore, and take care. And that's where I'll be at with David Sanders Jr. Again, when we lose these guys, and all of a sudden we get Josh Simmons in the portal, and we get Seth McLaughlin in the portal, and we get some good players in the portal. Like I for offensive linemen, man, if you're like Kirk, where would you want to spend your money? I'd say let me watch some of this film and get me a guy who's all conference in the MAC or all conference at a smaller school or a smaller Big Ten school, and let's get him in to start right away. Because then you have a guy who's proven he can play college football. He's proven that he's not motivated strictly by NIL. Because again, I I look at Jordan Seaton, and Jordan Seaton's probably going to start at left tackle for Colorado this year. He is going to get destroyed in the Big 12. He'll get destroyed. And again, he's going to be in. He decided to go to the most toxic program in college football, maybe in college football history. And again, I really like Deion Sanders, but that locker room, and again, it's not just that Shador's there and he acts like a moron and Travis Hunter acts like a moron, but you have so many transfers that are there that are basically just a bunch of, it's a bunch of mercenaries that they don't care about Colorado at all. If Deion left that program, they would have 90 guys in the portal tomorrow. So I mean, I'm like, dude, that's where you have to go. And Phil Lodeholt, who played 7 or 8 years in the NFL, like he has never coached an offensive line before. He was like a quality control coach at Oklahoma. Again, he's a really good NFL player, but do I want to really trust my livelihood and my career and my talent, my potential to a guy who's never coached before? I don't know. But it's like I follow those guys closely because it's like watching a car wreck, watching Colorado football, and I'm just like, the first time Shador gets hit from the blind side, man, he's gonna lay into Jordan Seaton. Jordan Seaton's gonna put on his little $200,000 chain and cry the blues because again, Caden Proctor was the best tackle in the country last year coming out. Goes to Bama, starts year 1, and he was awful, atrocious, and he got better, and I think he'll be better this year because he's lost 50 pounds. But when he was 375 playing left tackle for Bama, it was abysmal, absolutely abysmal. I mean, Michigan rocked him. The Texas Longhorns destroyed him down in Bryant-Denny Stadium. Obviously, the freshman year didn't go the way he thought. He ended up transferring back to Iowa. So I don't know. We'll see. Like these kids that want to start right away because they think that they're hot stuff. I mean, college football is not high school. And a lot of these kids when they're playing in high school, they don't even see a Division I guy their entire career. And also they go against real guys. And when people know that a kid's a 5-star freshman, they're licking their chops. They can't wait to see that guy in the game. Can't wait. Nevada, real quick, just wanted to knock this out. Gio Dennett says, I've been out on David Sanders Jr. for a while. He's obviously a homebody who doesn't want to come to OSU where the pressure starts day one. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm really not sure. And again, I want to see what happens with David Sanders too. I'm not even sure, no matter what happens about this commitment. It's a long way till December as well. So we'll see what happens. Look, Ohio State's not for everybody, and it might not be for him. And it might be for him. We'll see. I've seen stranger things happen than David Sanders end up at Ohio State, but regardless, I'm just telling you, my stated position is I do not sweat any commit. I just don't. I'm excited for them all, but I don't sweat any single one. I swore that day since Terrell Pryor came to Ohio State that I would never sweat another recruit coming to Ohio State, and I'm not going to change my policy for David Sanders because I truly don't care that much. So, we'll see what happens.
Totally agree. Rohan Van Gaal, thanks for the deuce. Hope you're good, my friend. How do you think Sonny would fare versus Oregon's running backs? Well, I mean, they've got a really, really good set of backs, but I think that, Sonny, if you can get those guys to stay in and pass protect, I don't know why you'd ever want a running back to pass protect versus Sonny because they're going to get killed, but I think that he'd mow him down, But again, you don't have him in too much coverage, but if you're blitzing and you could force the back to stay in and get Sonny on a back, I think it's going to be devastating because Sonny is a big dude, and most of these backs are, 195, 200, 210, and Sonny's 240. 235, 240. So, but he's got his length, like the length of his arms, is going to be a major problem for these running backs. Because they got to hang in there versus a guy like Sonny, and Sonny with that kind of speed and velocity and the length of his arms when he goes to pass rush is going to be a major problem for running backs. I'm just telling you. Nevada, your thoughts? Again, Rohan, appreciate you, my man. How do you think Sonny would fare versus Oregon running backs?
Yeah, like you said, he's going to be a handful for anybody. I mean, he's a big horse. He's physical specimen. I mean, he would give trouble for NFL running backs. So, I think he'll be a problem for just about anybody. So I'm hoping I hope we get to see the best of Sonny Styles because he is he's a guy that's got this world of potential, this world of physical ability. I want to see it turned on. I want to see it, going out there and him unleash the fury on the field. and we're going to need him against good teams like Oregon to win. So let's hope he gets it done.
Totally agree. Lee McAllister, thank you for the 5. Appreciate you, my friend. Everyone is worried about the O-line and forgetting that we have Chip Kelly. He will scheme it to make them look good at Nevada OH. I'm not worried about the O-line. I mean, we've had some interesting stuff happen in camp with the hand, foot, and mouth stuff, and Donnie's kind of dinged up. He's missed some practices, but we've got over 2 weeks till Akron, and if we had to start our twos versus Akron, which is not going to happen, I'd still wouldn't be scared to death of anything, because I think our guys they're ready, they're in good shape, they're experienced, which a lot of them weren't experienced coming into last year. And they got something to prove. And again, with Chip's scheme, it's going to mask. With Chip's scheme and running Will Howard, it's going to mask a lot of the issues that we've had, along with going fast. Like everything Chip does is a huge advantage to the offensive line. And that's something people don't talk about because people don't understand why his offense is so advantageous. But just the amount of different looks he gives, the amount of misdirection, the amount of different motions and stuff that it makes it the linebackers have to react, and they're a little bit slow. I mean, it's gonna be so fun to watch. I've always loved watching Chip Kelly's offense. I've always wished that we would do stuff that he did, and now all of a sudden we are. So I don't even know where to start with how happy I am, but I am just exquisitely happy at this point. Nevada, what are your thoughts? Again, Lee McAllister, appreciate you, my friend. Thank you for the 5. He says, everyone is worried about the O-line and forget that we have Chip Kelly. He will scheme to make them look good. What are your thoughts?
I couldn't agree more. I a million percent agree with that. I think the Chip Kelly scheme is it's going to be such a difference for the running game this year. But watch for yourselves. You guys watch yourself, and then we can come back and visit this one. You guys can bookmark this and say, Nevadabuck said the scheme's going to feel really different, and it's just going to look easier to run the ball than it's has in the past. And if that's not true, you guys can come back and yell at Nevada and say, Nevada, you said it would be different, but it's not different. Or you can see it and say, oh my gosh, Chip Kelly is a wizard. But I think we're all going to be singing the praises of the wizard Chip Kelly.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I tell you all the time, I talk to people that have to defend this, and they're just like, it is so. You just have no idea where the ball's at, and like, how hard is it to defend when you already have Quinshon Judkins and you already have all these superstars, and then you don't even know where the ball is. I think it's going to be absolutely stupendous. Nevada, let's wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts?
No, just a great day. Michigan rescinds the thing to Harbaugh. JJ McCarthy's injured, which I'm not rooting for an injury. I know that's bad karma, but it was just kind of funny that this all kind of happened the same kind of day. I think it's like karma catching up to the cheaters. But no, I'm just excited, man. We're getting down to single digit days before we're kicking it off for good, and I can't wait. I love football season more than anything in the world, and the only thing I like better than football season is winning on MMA. Got another winner for you tonight, Ming Dang, in the Dana White Contender Series. If you want free money, you could better jump on it really quick because that fight's going off in about 15 minutes. But Ming Dang, Dana White Contender Series, make yourself some money if you want.
Perfect. Love it. Let's wrap this thing up. Again, I appreciate you guys each and every night. Thank you for all that you guys do. I got another great show. Thank you, Scoop family. Thank you guys for being vigilant versus some very strange people that do not like the Scoop family. So appreciate you guys. As always, thank you to our moderators. Again, I appreciate all that you guys do. Thank you for making this such a great show. It's a huge show because you guys make it one. So thank you. With that being said, if you enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe. Also click that little alert bell. Again, I'll be back again tomorrow at 7. If you guys feel amazing, please give us a follow at Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Leave us a 5-star review. Those are huge for us. It takes 2 seconds to do, and it's something that could really help us out. So I appreciate you guys so very much. Thank you so much, Buckeye Nation. Thank you, Scoop family. We will talk to you guys tomorrow at 7 p.m. You guys have a great night. Go Bucks. Stacy, I appreciate you. You brought me back. Kim texted me, so I appreciate you. It was great meeting you at the golf outing. The David Patera Classic was absolutely amazing. Thank you for being an ultra member. Thank you for the 100. That is so generous. Or 109. Oh wow, that is fantastic. 109 days till we beat the cheaters up north. I love that. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate you. So wonderful meeting you and much of the Scoop family a few weeks ago. Great time spent with the great people. Let's keep paying it forward to the deserving heroes. OHIO. Appreciate you, Stacy. Again, you guys were absolutely amazing. I thank you guys so much for all that you guys did. Your goodie bags were fantastic. The ball markers were great. But again, I appreciate you guys. Again, that was so sweet of you guys. You guys looked great, decked out in your Scoop gear. It was great meeting your whole crew, and I just appreciate you guys so very much for coming through. Had a blast. Again, keep spreading the good word. The golf tournament is so fun. It's such a great day. It's one of the best days of the year for Buckeye Scoop, if not the best day of the year. And it was a great day. It was a little rainy, but other than that, it was great meeting everybody and talking to everybody and answering everybody's questions. So I appreciate you so much, Stacey. I hope that you have a great night, and thank you to your whole crew for rolling up to Youngstown, because it was a great night. So again, thank you so much, Stacy and the Scoop family. I hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.